Hey everyone, it's your host of Marcus Norman of Gentleman Style Podcast Show. And today we are interviewing a very special guest, Mr. Joey. This man is an esteemed professional in commercial and construction and real estate investment with a remarkable 7-year journey marked by expertise and achievements. He is absolutely killing it. Alongside him, his extensive experience he's a general contractor, also a seasoned real estate investor, boasting ownership of diverse portfolio comprising of single-family and multifamily properties, and he is absolutely killing the game and crushing the game. And he is here now on the Gentleman Style Podcast Show, here to spill some tea and give back and to share with us today. And so, without further ado, I can't help but hold this man back any further. He's absolutely a true heart of gold, and you guys will see why here shortly. So, help me welcome to the stage the incredible Mr. Joey. Welcome, Mr. Joey. How are you?
Thanks, man. I'm doing good. How are you?
Feeling awesome. Can't complain. I'm feeling really good today. The sun is shining, and it's it's a good Monday. Good Monday.
Good. Happy Cinco de Mayo.
Happy Cinco de Mayo. Yes, Cinco de Mayo. Yes, I enjoy today, and especially despite the current administration, no matter how anybody which way swings. I am happy to celebrate and really just enjoying the day and enjoying the beautiful view. So, what is your? Can I ask, sir? Are you doing anything special for Cinco de Mayo?
Not really. No, just prepping for an upcoming event. So got to pack my clothes, pack some things up, and make sure I don't forget anything. So, no, nothing crazy.
You're on the move. You're traveling. That's
yeah.
Absolutely. You are profound, and not many experts. It's hard for me to find guests men who give back in the real estate game. Usually, it's buy my course, buy my $10,000 course, $50,000 course. So it's a real treat to come across men like you who share and give back and give insight into the real estate game. How did you get your start in the real estate investing space? Because was it the construction business that came first, or was it the real estate?
So it's a funny story. Pretty much the construction side came naturally for me because I'm first generation here in the States, and my father was very, he didn't want to spend money for renovations and things like that. He always wanted to save one way or another. So he actually bought me out of that Home Depot 1, 2, 3, you can do it yourself book, and made me learn. So kind of got my hands dirty there, learned how to put LVP floor, painting, things like that, little fixes around the house, and then just kept going from there. Worked at a 9-to-5 job, did whatever I had to do, and real estate just got tired of working a 9-to-5, a regular job, and looking for that way to get out of it, looking for a way to make a lot of money, have the vacations I want, be able to travel the way I want, do things like that. And I realized I just was never going to get it working for somebody else or doing 40 hours a week with overtime or working on weekends. It just was never going to get me the life I wanted. So talking to the people, reading books and things like that, I ran into a book almost everyone's read that I've met. It's called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And that took me 2 times reading it for it to click. And that's kind of what started the whole real estate journey for me.
Absolutely. Rich Dad Poor Dad is absolutely any real estate investor's favorite book. Is a go-to plug into really, and it gets the mind turning for sure. I have the same claim to fame that the Rich Dad Poor Dad book, and then the series I later read the rest of the books, really just opened and expanded my mind to deeper and more things that are out there besides the 9-to-5. Why do you think your dad did that? Why do you think your father got you into working hard? What do you think the mission or his goal was by doing that?
So I wish I can tell you it was, to get out of the mindset and this and that, but honestly, my dad just doesn't like to spend money at all. Even to this day, if a plumber comes and says it costs $200, he'll try to haggle for $150 or something, or tell me to do it. But regardless, it was a mind opener for me, and it helped me kind of get out of that mindset and get into the zone of, we got to figure a way to fix this or do it a different way and get out of it. So by him helping me and kind of teaching me to do things myself, and I sort of was the same way growing up where somebody's charging me $2,000 to paint a house, and I'm like, I can probably do it for $1,000 or find someone for $1,000. and do it that way. So my parents grew up with the old mindset of work hard, study, do all this, and get a good job and pay your bills and the standard way. It just was never going to get them anywhere they wanted. I mean, they're both retired now. They've got a property, and they've got food and clothes and their bills paid, but never really nothing extravagant. They can't go on a nice vacation twice a year. They can't get the nice car they want or things like that because it's just the retirement funds are never going to keep up with inflation and things going up. So I like to think, all the things he taught me, even though it was indirectly, it helped me get out of that mindset and shift into what can I do to not have that or to put myself better ahead. So, I owe a lot to my parents.
That makes sense. So since I have you here, I'm gonna cheat a little bit, right? For the homeowners watching this and watching you, what's some common mistakes homeowners make when hiring a contractor to do work for them? Can you spill any tea or tips that homeowners commonly make the mistake of when searching out a contractor? Because I know you're smiling. Homeowners tend to have good experiences, right? There's good experiences, but they also have some bad experiences. And so from your standpoint on the general contractor side, what are some mistakes homeowners make when seeking you out?
So I mean, it goes both ways on both sides. So I get the question from both homeowners and from contractors where, what do we do to make things better overall? And either one's been burned by the other one many times. So it's always, a little scary game. But for homeowners, I mean, honestly, ask for reviews, ask for if they're a good contractor, they're probably doing projects now as it states. So ask if you can visit one of the job sites, get references, make sure you pull the license number and make sure it's valid in the state. I can't tell you how many, quote contractors are out there saying, yeah, I'm licensed, I'm insured, this and that. And then turns out they're not. So if they're not, they really can't work depending on your state. North Carolina, anything over 40,000 needs a license. South Carolina, it's 5,000. So it just depends. I mean, make sure they're licensed, make sure they're insured. And another one is for insurance. So just because you have insurance doesn't mean they insured your property. So make sure before giving them the job or signing off on anything, they give you a copy of their insurance page that has your property on there. I mean, I can do a job for you and tell you, yeah, I've got insurance. You look it up, it's true. And someone gets hurt on your property. I never added your property to my insurance. So that's on you. So you want to make sure, tell me, hey, call your insurance company, put my property on there for whatever work you're going to do and give me a copy. So, that's where you're covered as well. References, make sure you ask past jobs, how they do, what's going on, delays, things like that. And the most recent thing that have been helping a lot of people, because I have delays too. I mean, that's something we can't avoid depending on what happens. Here in the Carolinas, we had Hurricane Helene knock things out. You're always going to have sometimes bad contractor, bad subs who don't show up or got a higher paying job or whatnot. Everything caused delays. So a lot of new things I've been seeing are where there's like a bonus. You say you're going to do it in a month and you finish in 3 weeks, you'll get this much extra if you finish, and vice versa. If you take longer than a month, every day is deducted by this much. So it kind of gives more priority to your project and makes sure it's a win-win for both sides.
Absolutely. And so when it comes to that, how do you handle difficult clients with unrealistic expectations or just being difficult in general? How do you handle those type of clients?
So how do you handle them? So that's a good question. From a contractor side, there's many things you can do. I mean, the biggest thing that a lot of people do is do a mechanics lien. So pretty much you go to your Clark County service and just say, hey, I did this much work. They owe me. They haven't paid me. Here's proof. And it'll put some mechanics lien on the property. That's one thing. The best thing you can always do is just try to sit down and have a conversation. I mean, hey, this happened because of this. This happened. That was out of my control. Here's how I fixed it. And just try to have that conversation. If they're being difficult, they're not even answering the phone and all that, then by all means take to the next level of getting a lien done, contacting local authorities for breach of contract or theft of services. There's many things you can do. So it's just the best advice is to try to just have that conversation up front. I've made the same mistake maybe 3 times now where you're being rushed to finish a project, you just go ahead and do it. And that was not part of their scope. So me thinking, hey, they want it done quick, they know it's going to get done right, I'm just going to go ahead and buy the material, get the labor done to a good price and get it done. And then end of the day, well, I didn't approve that, I don't want to pay for it. Well, the work's done, so either bite the bullet and take the loss, or you proceed with your legal matters.
That's good. That's good. I wanna stay here in a second, or rather, I want to double back. You touched on something that your father was he was frugal, right? Your family was very frugal,
Right.
and they were very wise and diligent with their money. And so your father got you in the business of learning how to do stuff for yourself and learning how to work on stuff for yourself. And so
Right.
you shared that there were times that your family would try they would be overcharged, and then you shared experiences where you've seen it yourself, even though you're a contractor yourself, where contractors want $2,000 $3,000 for a job, right? And you're like, well, I could do this for 1,000, I know that much. Do you think contractors intentionally overcharge clients, or is it just perception, or do you think it's all in our heads?
I think it goes both ways, man. I mean, I've had some subs of mine that, like one of them was a painter, and he would go to standard neighborhood, look at a job, $3,000. And then he'd go to a nicer neighborhood, same exact house, same square footage, things like that. And he's like, oh, I can charge 6 here. I was like, you're going to get in a lot of trouble. But that's another reason why you want someone that's licensed, because there's a code of ethics they've got to follow. If it doesn't go through that, they can get a lot of trouble. Those that are not licensed, so subcontractors or those that say they are and aren't, they can charge kind of whatever they want. It's also part goes to the homeowners, do their due diligence of, you got to speak the language. You got to know what they're saying, what they're talking about. Does it make sense? Don't just get one bid. Always get 3 bids, vet them out, Google them, look them up, see what you can find out, and do what you can to help yourself. So, I still do that to this day with commercial. Like, I'm a commercial general contractor, and I don't tell people that are my new subs that we've got some buildings in North Carolina, and I'll just call and ask a question. Hey, how much is it for this? Here's what I got to do. They'll give me a price, and then try to throw in that language that they think I don't know. And then I'll start just bringing it down. So we bought a building last year in Kernersville, North Carolina, 12 units, and we needed some plumbing done commercially for the whole building. So we bought it on a Monday, let's say, at 9 in the morning. At 2 o'clock that afternoon, the main pipe burst for the whole building. So everyone had low water pressure, and it was just terrible timing. So by that time, it belonged to us, so we had to fix it. Called 4 or 5 companies. We were getting quotes from like 12,000 to 18,000, and I'm just like, I don't need a piece of paper that says 18,000 at the bottom. You're going to fix it. I need you to give me a line by line of what you're going to do and why. And finally, I got to. I brought it down. I think we paid $3,600 because there are so many line items we did not need. I knew where the problem was. I knew what needed to be done, and we just need to get it done. So that helped out a lot. My partners were beyond happy with that, and it got fixed pretty quickly. So just understanding what it is and questioning it. That's all you got to do.
And I appreciate that. You have insight, sir. You have wisdom, you have knowledge. But how can a basic homeowner tell if they're being ripped off or not, or overcharged? Like, I'll give you an example of me, and it was just a unique situation. I'm a homeowner, and I had a hot water heater rupture in my house, and unfortunately, the hot water heater is in the attic, not in the garage. And so, but fortunately, I think there's like an emergency cutoff switch that cut off automatically when the sensor sensed that the tank had malfunctioned. It cut off the main line of water source automatically, and so it stopped flowing. So once the water drained out, it drained out, but more water didn't continue to pour out. And so I reached out to some contractors. One guy wanted $3,000, and I was like, I looked up the most expensive hot water tank. I'm talking a water tank that's like, it hooks up to your Wi-Fi. It can text you alerts when the hot water is too hot or what, and you can adjust it from your phone. This is the most expensive hot water tank, right? During the time. And that was maybe $600. And so we're $500, $600. Where in the world did the $2,500 come from? And so I asked the guy, I said, what are you doing? And he's like, well, it's I'm hiring two guys. I got to pay the two guys, and then it's in the attic, and the attic doesn't have one of those pull down ladders. So I had a ladder, but it requires him to do some extra work. How can the average homeowner tell if they're being gouged or if that's even a fair price? Are you paying your guys $1,500 or $1,000 to climb up an attic and put up a hot water tank? How does a client know?
So one of the biggest things there, I mean, what they're saying is right, their price is not. So it is going to be extra work. I mean, when you see a hot water heater, my first thing is someone's got to get wherever it is and drain it, because you're not pulling 40 gallons. What is it? 40 pounds for 5 gallons. So you're not pulling that down. You've got to empty that out first. Hopefully you can just do it in the drip pan and throw it out wherever it has to go. Then you've got to get it out depending on where it is. I've seen places that would build a hot water heater they put it in the attic before closing out the door, so it may not fit. They've got to cut it. I don't know the situation, but the bigger companies here in the Carolinas, like Corley, things like that, they've got a massive overhead. They've got to pay the assistant that answers the phone when you call. They've got to pay their insurance. They've got to pay their vehicles or gas. So you're being charged for all of that before you being charged for the labor. So I had to change 2 water heaters from all my properties in the last few months, and I just got rid of them. I got tankless water heaters now. I love them. They save so much power. There's so much less maintenance. I don't know about you, but a lot of my tenants, they don't flush the water heater once a year like you're supposed to. So all that corrosion is stuck inside. They're using that to bathe and things like that. Tankless water heater is like 16 by 16. I had to run new power for it because they pull more power. But the thing is, it only pulls power when it's turned on and being used, not like a standard water heater that has to turn on every 2.5, 3 hours. So you're saving power there. It's just those bigger companies, they've got employees to pay. So you're paying for that. I mean, my prices had to go up from when it was just me to 3 guys to 6 guys to 8 guys, to the point where now I'm an investor, and they all want to pay what I pay. And it's like we're breaking even. So it just depends. You got to find that nice mix. But even for your own projects at home, I would get multiple bids, have them break down what it is. And a big thing that I tell a lot of my personal friends and things like that, get the bid you want. So say, hey, like you said, I need the water heater. Right now it's a 23 gallon. I want the same thing. And let them give you an all-in price. Hey, it's $3,000. Okay, well, can you break it down, materials versus labor, and I'll buy my own material. Tell me what to buy and I'll buy it myself. And you can order it from Home Depot. You can order for them to pick it up, whatever the case is. And now you can clearly see what is just the labor cost versus all in. And that's helped people a lot. So.
Absolutely. That's dope. That's dope. That's what I needed to hear. And so thank you for sharing that and just giving that insight. I feel like most contractors wouldn't tell you that. Right? They won't. I'm pretty sure I'll
get some extra things later. I'm like, what are you doing? So.
What are you doing, man? You're messing me up. But I think here's my thoughts, and you can tell me what you think. I think it's better to charge a fair price and get a continuous client for life versus overcharging me one time and then you never hear from me again.
Right. And that's what I tell my buddies that are realtors too. I was like, listen, you don't want to send out my offer because you think it's insulting, but theoretically, I mean, look at the statistics of it. A standard homeowner is going to buy one new house every 8 years or so. If you get me a good deal or you send the offer I want and I buy it, I'm coming to you every other month or every few months, telling you my buddies to go to you too. So you can sell that one, turnkey ready house to homeowner A every 8 years, or I can buy things off you 5, 6, 10 times a year, depending on what it is. So it's just got to work for both of us. That's all it is.
Exactly. You see that, y'all? It's insane. No long-term planning at all. Right. And I guess I can imagine, I don't know, you can tell me, I don't think there's too much business training going on when you're going for your certifications and your journeyman and your certs to become, a plumber or a general contractor. I don't think they teach you business, do they?
So it's pretty brief. So they kind of teach you the standard one, whether it be cost plus, whether it be all in at the end, whether it be, fixed rate. It's kind of a self-taught, like one chapter of the book. But there are classes they give you afterwards you can attend, you can go to. So just because you get a GC license, like my first year was not very profitable at all. It was, making minimal profit and having to look for jobs and compete with other contractors. Then you sign up for other business licenses or business courses, things like that, and they'll break it down for you. One that helped me out is Contractors First, and it kind of showed you, hey, you got to make a living too. You can't just do this for free, otherwise, you don't run a company. You have a job. So it just depends on where you want to be and what you want to do. Knowledge is out there. It's just how bad do you want it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I want to go into the sauce. I'm gonna be very direct because you have a huge, unique brain and a vast knowledge across multiple platforms. You're a real estate investor, you're a general contractor, and you also deal with commercial. So I want to ask you, where's the market headed? We crashing? I want to go straight for this. You say you hope so? Explain that. Help.
So pretty much, me and my partner, what we like to do is we look for those tired landlords, so those people that have had properties for 25, 30 years, and I don't want the market to crash. I mean, I'm in a spot very thankfully where my properties, and every investor is going to tell you this, you want to make sure your properties are making more than your mortgage. So if I got a duplex right now that the mortgage is $3,000 a month, one side is $1,600, one side is $1,600. It's not much, but I'm making $200 a month. So I'm fine with that. Every year rent goes up. The only time I'll refinance if the rates go down or it's hit the 4 or 5 year mark. But we look for things like, it sucks to say, but if the market does crash, those people that did not plan well or bought a property, like I've been outbid many times, but I had to stick to my numbers. If the property's worth 200 grand with 100 into it, 300, and at the end of the day, it's worth 450. I can't go past a certain number, but there's other investors, brand new, or took some classes, and they'll overbid it. They'll buy it for more than it's worth. They're going to be in a bad spot soon. So you just wait for those to make mistakes. You buy off them. Obviously, you don't take advantage of them. You try to help them out as much as you can, but teach them, show them. Like I've had other investors that did that, and they were in a bad spot. They had to sell within 2-3 months, and there's people out there like, listen, I'm not paying your closing costs. I'm not paying this. You got to take the loss. So, and that's one fault of mine where I try to help others out, even though it might put me in a bad spot. So, but I'm learning not to do that. So it just depends on what it is. If the market goes down, there's a lot of commercial buildings that are going to sell. Storage facilities are going to sell. So it depends on, mobile home parks, things are going to sell. Because I was at fault of this too, where sometimes you were too nice to your tenants, where they give you a sob story. Hey, this happened. I can't pay my rent. Can I be late? And you're training them. So then 3 months, 4 months, they're late. They're behind. The bill gets too big now. They've already spent the money. They can't do anything. That put me in a bad spot where it's not like, hey, I'm not here, like Scrooge McDuck with all this money in the back. It's, it's a business and I'm running, and you've got to pay it as well. Because if you don't pay it, I've got to pay it anyway. So it's coming from somewhere. Then you go through the whole eviction process and everything. It's just something you don't want to do. So, I don't want the market to crash. I do want rates to go down. I'm due for some refi soon. But, it just depends. You've got to buy smart. Whether the market crashes or not, if you buy smart and do your work, you'll be okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so you say you've helped too many people. You've helped other real estate investors with their deals. Or is it you're mentoring and you're coaching these people and trying to say, hey man, you overbid way too much on that property. It's way overpriced. These are the numbers I came up with. And then is that what you're doing? Is that what you used to do, I guess?
Well, I still advise here and there because again, I'm a general contractor. So I have, painters, framers, electrician, plumbing, everything. So I kind of engage where the price is going to be, give or take within, few. So far I've been good with my numbers. And I can just tell you some things are going to be way more than others. It just depends. But as far as new realtor or new investors, they go by just, hey, this is going to be a quick cosmetic flip, 20K, and they'll buy it. And then once it gets 40, 45, they're in danger at that point where you always have a 10% contingency. If it goes above that, you're going to be paying someone else to take that project off of you. So it just depends. You got to help out because I've been in that spot too. Looking back on my first few projects, my first one, I still own it today. I overpaid by maybe $35,000, and I didn't know any better back then. Now I do, and I was like, I could have did this instead. I could have did this, and nowadays I've got an amazing, contract with Sherwin-Williams. I've got a good one with Home Depot, so my discounts are great. I can share that with your listeners as well. So it just depends. I mean, you've got to grow those relationships. The only reason I've got such good discounts is because I went to the store, talked to the manager, and said, "Hey, my name is so and so. Here's what I plan on doing. Can you help me out?" Worst they're going to say is no. Best case, I'm like, okay, well, here's the things I see you use the last 6 months or 3 months the most of. I can come down to this price and for this, and just help each other out.
Home Depot is doing that. Lowe's
Yeah.
is doing that. Really?
Not really low. Home Depot more.
That's fair. No, I didn't even know that was a bargaining tool for contractors. So is that how you're keeping your costs low for like lumber and wood, or those costs are just kind of fixed? They're just going to be high because America imports everything.
So it depends on how much you spend it too. I mean, you can't just walk in there and say, "Hey, my name is so and so, and I'm going to spend $1 million," and they're going to give you a discount. They go based on your track record and what you buy the most of, and how often they see you. Like, I make friends with managers whenever I go to a store. They know who I am to the point where they're texting me like, "Hey, man, this is going on clearance sale. Do you want it? Hey, I saw you just put in a bid for this. They have a bid room." What would we do last year for a 54 unit we bought? There was a Black Friday sale for appliances. So, I just started picking and choosing refrigerator, stove, over-the-range microwave, and the dishwasher. Came out to like $12.95, which is good. It's still really good. And her name is Brittany. She's one of the pro desk managers. She texted me and said, "Hey, I see you put in this request. Do you mind if I play around with it?" I said, "Yeah, go ahead." Then she calls me like 2 hours later saying, "Hey, I found a better deal. The same thing you guys picked, but we put an extra range in there, a range hood, sorry. And it actually dropped the price by like $140 or $120. So we got an extra piece of equipment for cheaper just because she's known me for quite some time and knows I do a lot of business. And, they didn't have to do that at all, but it helped out a lot. So now we've got, I think, 30 microwaves sitting in storage right now, which we got to move. But still, it was free. We saved money and got that for free. So
absolutely, that's
those
huge.
relationships are big.
Relationships. This is a relationships game, y'all. This is a big, big relationship. That is huge. And shout out to Brittany, man. Shout out to Brittany and doing that, because, like you said, she didn't have to do that.
Right.
Do that for you. And I want to. So you do single family, you do commercial, so you do residential and you do commercial. How in the world are you buying office space right now? Like, because I feel like ever since COVID, office space was not the play, or let me say correctly, commercial real estate was not the play anymore. Are you still buying commercial real estate these days?
Yeah. So not storefront like what you're saying there. I do commercial. So anything residential is 4 units and below. So like a quadplex. Anything like 5 and up is commercial. So when I say commercial, it's like a 12-unit apartment building, a 54-unit apartment building, things like that.
Okay. Now, and there's still good deals out there.
Oh my God, yeah. It's harder now because there's a lot more people investing, a lot of people learning, and the Carolinas are becoming really popular. So it's more difficult, but there are still deals out there.
Absolutely, but the inventories is short. The inventory is small. Are you getting off market deals? Or are you getting on market deals? Are you building relationships with realtors, real estate agents, brokers? Because there's a shortage, right? And so how do you get in there ahead of the competition to find those deals?
So all of the above. So pretty much you reach out to brokers, introduce yourself, tell them what you've done, what you want to do. Either they'll take your call or they won't, but they'll notate it and then call you back as when something comes up. Realtors too, you can reach out to them, but mostly the commercial stuff go to the brokers. So you can try. There's always friends. They know someone. They're friends here and there. Another secret that I liked and I just learned maybe a few months ago is everyone's looking for the next apartment building, the next house, the next single family, whatever you want to do investment wise. One thing that I learned recently about 6 months ago, and I love it, is go to Zillow, go to Realtor, go wherever you look for houses. And instead of looking for sale, look for rent. And look for those. If it's $1,000 neighborhood a month in rent, look for that one that's 700, 750, 800, because 9 times out of 10, they didn't update it. They didn't raise their prices because it's not looking like the brand new ones. So it's a landlord that hasn't had the time or doesn't want to update it. Just call them up and say, hey, are you looking to sell? Do you want to, keep this? I can buy it from you and bring it up to current, standards, and, try that out. It's worked for me so far.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I want to talk about your website. I want to talk about what can people expect with you. Are you doing any syndication? Are you offering any deals, or are you partnering with people who are looking for capital? They have a deal under contract and they're just looking for capital. Which side of the fence are you doing right now?
So pretty much we do syndication deals as well, which is kind of where it comes to the point where, hey, you're a W-2 worker, you are, somebody that has money, just retired, whatever you want to call it, but you don't want to put in the time to learn, invest, and you don't want to get your hands dirty. You want to do it with people that are actually really good. So these two guys here, Nate Farmer and Cole Farrell, pretty much they're my partners on these, and below those are my mentors and teachers. So basically, they've already done all the work. I mean, Nate Barger is a human calculator. You can look him on YouTube, whatever you want.
Michael Ealy is big.
Yeah, Mike Ealy is awesome. He's so down to earth. And another thing too, I'll get to that in a second, but pretty much we look for deals, and I have the construction background. So pretty much Cole Farrell, who was up there, he does all the underwriting, make sure the numbers make sense, make sure you put in the offers, does all the contingencies. I handle all the in-house construction. Nate Farmer is our relations managers with a lot of things there. So we look for the deals, we control it, we handle it, and then we'll update you on a monthly basis. And just make sure you're making money, make sure your money's protected. And you may not hear from us very often with, hey, we got a deal this week, got a deal next week. We don't like to do that. We don't like to throw every deal at you every week, because it has to make sense. We got to make sure it's a safe deal, it's a profitable deal, and it's definitely going to come out on top. The last thing you want to do is send someone some money or invest with somebody and then get some bad news. Nobody wants that.
Sure.
Don't.
Or capital call.
Right. Knock on wood, never had one of those. But yeah, you don't want that. So when we send an email like, hey, we've got a deal, understand it's been vetted very hard and it's a good deal. You should hop on. But going back to Mike Ealy and the guys down there, these guys have been doing this for years, and they are multimillionaires. They've got hotels, buildings, everything. So my biggest thing was, these guys aren't going to really talk to me like I'm a number in these massive classes or these big, events and go to. They actually will sit down, they talk to you, they'll text me, they'll call me, they'll walk you through issues and projects. It's crazy. I mean, growing up in a standard W-2 job or a standard American life, whatever you want to call it, I always had the misconception of these guys with millions won't even give me the time of day, won't look at me twice, won't really help me at all, sell me a course like you said and never talk to me again. But these guys are not like that at all. I mean, they will sit there and talk to me, guide me, hop on a FaceTime, and just walk through some issues or walk through some, different planning, and they force you to think outside the box and creative. I mean, Mike Ealy, I joined his program maybe a year and a half ago or so. And based on what I was able to do and everything, he invited me to speak at one of his events. It was the most terrifying thing I've done in quite some time. But, it helped me break out of my shell and realize a lot more. Nate Barger was the first real estate event I've ever went to 2 years ago. So I sat in the back of the table, corner by myself, didn't really talk to people because it just wasn't me. But again, those people, they're all there. It's crazy. They all have similar mindsets, similar goals. They're all go-getters. And it broke me out of my shell as well there. And this year, his event's actually this week. He's asked me to speak on the panel because I'm one of the students that has made a breakthrough and is doing a lot of big things. And he asked me to speak up there and, repay him. I was like, yeah, man, I'll go up there and I'll talk. I mean, what do you want me to talk about? And he said, just be you, just talk. I'll ask questions, whatever, and just speak from the heart. So I was like, all right, that's pretty simple.
That's super powerful, super powerful. And so a dynamic team, a powerful team, you guys are syndicating, you guys don't, you come out with offers, but you vet the process. Are you guys stress testing these deals to make sure that they can withstand um, another COVID, another situation for, if you fall to this tenancy level, like if you say on your apartment deal, if you fall to about like 80% occupancy, would the money still make sense? Are you stress testing these deals or not?
Yes, we always make sure we're stress testing them to the max just to be safe, and we show that on all our calls. So even though like the 54 unit, we saw right away maybe 12 HVACs had a year left on them. We also had an HVAC guy come out and test it and confirm it. But to be safe, we're opting for like 26 or 28 to go down. Um, Always adding contingency and a backup plan in case Tennessee goes longer than expected. If we need more upgrades than expected, if a renovation costs maybe 10 grand an apartment, we always put for like 12.5, 13 just in case for things we don't see and things like that. I mean, we want to be safer than we are sorry. So we're never going to just put it on a line and hopefully it gets there. We got to make sure we're stress testing it. We're prepared for something that can pop up. Worst case, it pops up, we're covered. Best case, it doesn't, and everyone makes more money. So we just want to make sure everyone's protected.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You guys are pretty big. Are you guys dealing with accredited investors, non-accredited investors, or who are you guys working with
So
primarily?
we work with both pretty much. I mean, obviously accredited is a lot easier because it's a lot less red tape to go through, but non-accredited as well. I mean, I've got friends who also buy single families, duplexes, and they're planning eventually to get to commercial, but they've never, it's a scary thing going from buying a
Yeah.
single family for 200 to buying a building for $4 million. It's scary.
Yeah.
I like it more, and I'll tell you why in a second. But I tell my buddies it's not that bad if you just invest as a passive investor, where you give a certain amount and now you own part of the deal. Just ask to be in the calls, be a fly in the wall. Even if you don't speak, join those calls, hop on, ask questions, learn how they're doing things, see how they underwrite it, see what issues came up and how they fixed it. Maybe you have something that we don't have, and we'll tell you something that popped up, and we're working on it. You may have the answer. We don't know what you know, and you don't know what you do until you hop in there and test it out. Worst thing you're gonna hear is that's not gonna work for us, but you'll see what are the issues you run into. So when you eventually do get in there or do it yourself or do it at a bigger scale, you're more prepared. I mean, that's why you have these mentors. You're paying this amount of money for all the years and experiences and turmoil they've gone through to help you avoid it yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What's a minimum investment amount someone should reach out to you or your team for? What should they have beforehand before seeking you out?
Usually the lowest one I've seen so far is like 25,000. So it just depends from there. I mean, some people want a bigger deal. I think the 54 unit, I forget how much you had to be a GP. So it's a limited partner LP or a general partner GP. And it just depends on how much you put in and how much you want to be involved in those monthly calls, weekly calls, however they have it. So, there's always site visits where they all come down, check it out with us. I like those because you can touch it, see the property, walk it yourself. You go to my Instagram, you see a lot of before and afters.
Yep.
And, why I love apartments more than I love single families. I can buy 4 single families next week, and they're all built a different year, different HVAC system, different plumbing, different electric, different everything. You buy an apartment building, they're all basically the same. 95% are the same exact thing. So if I need, 30 boxes of this flooring for this apartment, I'm going to need it for every single one going forward. If I need this vanity, every single one going forward. There's no measuring again, knock out 1 or 2, make your game plan, make your material list. Just copy and paste from there.
They're all the same. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Speaking of game planning, we got to pay some bills, y'all. We got to go to a quick commercial break. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Baby Gear Services DMV specializes in high-quality baby gear rentals in the Maryland and DC metro area. We have a wide range of baby gear items for rent, including wooden cribs, car seats, high chairs, and more. We also offer seasonal specials and free delivery. Our prices are very versatile to cover every budget. Wooden cribs start at $17 a day, high chairs and even car seats start at $5 a day. Check out our website, www.bgsdmv.com.
Hey guys, this is your boy Marcus Norman of Gentleman Style Podcast Show, and we are here in Patrick Henry Mall, Newport News, Virginia. We're actually here for something unique just inside. Something new, brand new that we want to explore together. You guys ready? All right, here we go. Hey, boss. Heard you were an athlete, man. See you at the mall every day. We are at Patrick Henry Mall, living up, and we are talking about CBD. But first off, the normal thing that we all deal with is joint pain, back pain, suffer from everything.
Neck pain too.
Neck pain? You got some neck pain?
All the time, man. I'm getting up in age, you know what I'm saying? We're not young no more.
I'm with you. I'm totally with you. Bruh, CBD helps with the exact same thing. Neck pain, back pain, joint pain, all the pains, everywhere pain, right? And so that's what CBD does. That's what we're here to help you and me do. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you.
Thank you for your time.
Absolutely.
All right.
CBD is one of the most powerful cannabinoids because all it's focused on is the health and wellness. We're talking helping people with anxiety, depression, insomnia, sleep deprivation, all provided. CBD works with the natural mechanics of your body without the crazy side effects of Western medicine. So these products are here to actually align your body and get it back right so we can actually have a better quality of life. And that's what CBD does.
Support for Gentleman Style Podcast is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming champions of the world. Manscaped offers you precision engineering tools for your family jewels. Manscaped just launched their 4th generation trimmer, the Lawnmower 4.0. You heard that right, the 4.0. Join over 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you. 20% off free worldwide shipping with the code GENTSTYLE at manscaped.com.
We are back on the Gentleman Style Podcast Show. We have the incredible Mr. Joey. This man is spilling some profound tea. His unique experience as a general contractor, real estate investor, residential and commercial side of things is profound. And he and his company have partnered with some of the most incredible real estate investors, incredible real estate minds in the planet. And they are sharing some incredible insight. Mr. Joey, spilling some tea. He's touched on residential real estate, commercial real estate. He's touched on tips for general contracting and what every homeowner should or should not do when reaching out to a general contractor. If you missed any of that, go back, scroll back, and check him out. He's on iHeartRadio, Apple iTunes, Spotify, Ghana, Facebook, anywhere this podcast can be found. We are there, and he is here today helping us do better in real estate investing. Mr. Joe, you talked about some very profound things. The minimum investment about $25,000, but you also deal with non-accredited and accredited investors. And so one of the things I want to flip it to you, right? Fire question is, if someone sought you out, what questions should they ask you? It's their first deal. They're terrified, right? Because they're getting to know you. And what things should they ask you when investing in their first real estate investment deal with you?
So you mean syndication wise? You mean like just a residential flip?
So you're doing flips, but do you have any like long-term equity investment deals, or do you have investment deals that pay out quarterly or monthly? Anything like that?
So syndication. So pretty much what I can tell them is, check our track record, see what we've done, ask for the T12 on our last commercial project, ask for the current, if we don't have it more than 6 months, a T6, so the trending 6 months, and ask to see that. Ask, what were the goods that happened? What were the bads? How did you fix that? What are your future plans? Things like you said, what happens if there's too much vacancy? How do you control construction costs? How do you control costs that you can't see? And ask every question you can. And if you can't think of something, write it down. Ask your friends. It's your money. You want to make sure it's protected. You want to make sure you're okay. Your future's okay. So ask any question you want. I mean, if you're out of state and you want to come check it out before you invest, okay. I go down there maybe once a week, twice a week. Ask if you can meet me down there and walk some of the ones we're doing, walk some of the ones we've already done. Ask for some before pictures and then get a video before and after, or even during. I mean, there's a lot of things that are going to happen. So you just want to make sure you're comfortable, you understand what's going on, and your money's safe.
Absolutely. What state are you guys investing in? Are you all 50 states, or is it one kind of? You said North Carolina earlier. Is that the state where you're currently buying primarily residential and commercial, or?
So we're doing North and South Carolina just because I'm local. I'm in Shelby, North Carolina. So I'm about 25 minutes from the border of South Carolina and about half an hour from Charlotte. So somewhere you can drive to, make sure things are going well, jump in and help if you want to, things like that to just make sure everything is being controlled in-house.
How can someone add value, right? You mentioned join the call, get on the call, be a fly on the wall. But how can someone, because you guys are pretty high level, right? A little old guy wanting to get into the real estate investment game, how can they add value to you? What should they, because I hear that all the time. People always want to say like, hey, Joey, can I pick your brain? Hey, Mr. Joey, can I ask you some questions? That doesn't necessarily bring you value. What things should people who are seeking guidance and mentorship from you, what should they bring to the table, or what are some suggestions that they can bring to the table to add value, not to you, right? Because your time is worth it, right? There's a dollar amount behind you, and your time is necessary and important. So to get advice, what things should someone offer you as value add to you?
That's a good question. So just thinking back on, two buddies of mine that, they didn't have a lot of money saved up to invest, but they wanted to be involved in one way or another. Not really involved as, having ownership stake, but to learn, to be a fly on the wall and learn things. So one of them just like, how can I help you? What can I do? And I couldn't think of anything. So I said, you think of something, let me know. And eventually he came to it where he'd always ask, where are you going to be? What are you doing? And my schedule changes so much. So he's like, well, what are you doing there? And I was like, I got to go here for an inspector, give him this paper. I've got to go get some updated pictures or videos. But he's like, all right, what if I do that? What if I go take the pictures for you, send them to you? What if I print this paper out and, drop it off at the job site for the inspector? And I was like, well, that would save me a lot of time on my side because I don't have to go from this city to that one 40 minutes away, back to another one an hour away. That helped out a lot. Another buddy of mine, what was I doing? I was looking for like landscaping in one of my properties, and I just kept putting it off. In the Carolinas, it grows quick. I just kept putting it off because it wasn't a high priority versus just a task that had to be done. So he's in Maryland. So he actually went on Facebook Marketplace, changed zip code, and just put, landscaping, and started calling these guys up and getting prices and getting quotes. And he's like, hey man, these are guys local to the area. Here's what they say they'll do. Here's how they get paid, whether it be cash app or a check. And they can be out there as soon as, 2 days or 3 days. And, that took something off my plate. So just think outside the box. I mean, have that conversation. I mean, I've got a buddy, what is he from? Aiken. And he's brand new, learned maybe a year ago. He's been in the program for over a year with Nate Barger. And he'll call me every so often asking questions about this and that, everything. And I'll answer the questions. If he needs something pulled, I'll pull it for him, and make sure the project is being done right. And what he does a lot is he'll send me like painters that he's used or plumbers he's used in that area because I'm not really from that area. So he'll help build my sub list in different areas. So there's a lot of things you can do. You just got to think outside the box, or try to see what you can offer, and then maybe it'll be a no, maybe it'll be a yes, but you don't know until you try.
Absolutely. Think outside the box. Did that buddy drive down from Maryland to actually meet those landscapers for you?
No, he didn't drive down. He just made sure he found them, saw what their pricing was and how they want to get paid, and then, send them all my way.
Absolutely. Shout out to your buddy. Good job. Good job. Good job to your buddy, and really thinking outside the box there. I can't tell you, I'm not even as big as you are, right? You guys are big players. But I can't tell you how many times someone wants to pick my brain and they don't offer anything. They don't want to give anything, right? And that's annoying, right? You know, there and it's not to kind of toot the horn, right? You're not braggadocious or anything like that. You know, it's just listen, man, to get in this, to get in real estate, you got to kind of get your hands dirty. And getting your hands dirty and getting on the ground, that's free. That's a life lesson that your friend will have for the rest of his life, right? And then
Oh, yeah.
he's getting to deal with landscapers. He's seeing what the prices are, and I'm sure you gave back some information like, hey, this is what this real estate is doing. This is how it works. This is how much grass is. This is how much square footage is. And you know, these are the letters that I got from the tenants complaining about the grass being too high. Whatever it is, it's a learning experience, and they learn, and they got some real hands-on experience that you can't beat that with a stick. The coffee dates are over, people. Right? Inviting Mr. Joey out for coffee is not worthwhile to him. He's on the move. He's on travel. That's not worthwhile to him, right? He can get coffee whenever he wants. Think outside the box, y'all. Did I miss anything there, Mr. Joey?
No, I mean, the good thing there was a funny story. You're right, because he came down. He comes visit me every like quarter or so. We hang out. I know him 20 plus years. So one thing I did teach him, with two things, was something pretty simple: how to change a toilet and how to, rewire a ceiling fan, all that. So the next week, he sends me a picture. He's like, hey, look, I updated my toilet. It's been 16 years, the original one. Changed it out for this brand new one. I feel great. He's going on dates, telling all these girls, like, yeah, I'm changing all this stuff at the house. I'm rehabbing this and that. It's just awesome. Like, he's such a good guy. And, he was proud that he did that. Like, he didn't have to call a plumber. He didn't have to call a handyman. Like, he's like, I've got some time this weekend. I'll knock it out myself. And it sucks. The first time always sucks. You got to do it a good amount before, you get used to it. But he got it done. So that was awesome to hear and see those pictures too.
That is awesome. And probably saved a fortune, right? Saved a bunch of money doing it himself, right?
Oh, yeah. Then I told him, hey, man, it sucks. They're heavy as hell. It's bad and hasn't been there that long. It's dirty. It's got a lot of dust and muck and stuff. But, knock out 4, 5, 6 more. You're going to build a system how to do it. Knock it out quick. I mean, the apartments we're doing now, if the toilets arrive, vanities arrive, like, all right, all gets done in like less than a day. We got to knock them out, take out the old one, put in the new one, just get it done.
Yeah. Now he's a plumber. Now he's certified. He's a plumber, man. Absolutely. That's dope. That is absolutely. And again, it is proud when you can do something yourself, right? That do it yourself. Just in here, right? That's in here. No one can take that from you. That's a life skill he'll have for the rest of his life, and more than likely pass it on to his kids, his family, his next generation. And you can't take that from him ever,
Right.
ever. Huge nugget right there. Have you ever had a project? And I know, knock on wood, you said earlier you've never had to do a capital call. You've never had to reach back out to investors for a capital call. But have you ever had a deal go completely bonkers? And what happened and how did you overcome it?
So there's been a good amount of those. I mean, you always plan for the worst, and sometimes it gets even worse than that. So, one project in North Carolina, the issue with that, the project wasn't hard. What was hard was all the red tape. So for a lot of new investors out there, one thing I learned the hard way is, a set of stairs, for example. When you renovate a house, no matter how old it is, if you take down more than 40% of the sheetrock, the city is going to treat it as a new construction build. Mm-hmm. So everything's going to have to be to today's current code. And we all know these 100-year-old houses, they're built solid, they're good, but it's probably not going to be able to reach that new standard code. So when I bought this property, the stairs were already gone. That should have been my first red flag. So this is 96-year-old house. Today's current code in North Carolina is 36-inch wide, stair treads, 6'8" clearance in height, so you don't hit your head or someone else hits their head. 36 inches in the direction of where you're going for platforms. It's not possible with the way stairs used to be built, 34 inches, 32. going down. And my biggest rebuttal with most city inspectors is, how are you trying to keep me up to today's code when there's so many houses on this block that are nowhere near what you're trying to do? And it just sucks. I mean, sometimes you get an inspector that's like, hey, your entryway is 36, that's fine, just do what you can. Then you got other ones that are bring out a measuring tape, you're off by 3/8 of an inch, you got to fix it. I'm like, are you kidding me? Just imagine, like my house I'm living in now, it's 103 years old, it's made of plaster, it's got 12-foot ceilings, and trying to bring this up to today's electric code or plumbing code, you've got to gut the whole thing, and then you got to rebuild framing. It's just not worth it. So it's just crazy. Like, make sure you're taking care of the property, you're doing your due diligence, don't make the mistakes I've made. I mean, if you know me or you don't, and you reach out for advice and you tell me you're buying a 100-year-old house, my first thing is going to be, just be careful. I mean, they're beautiful, don't get me wrong, they are. It's just depending on how much you take down and the city comes, they're going to make you do it to today's code. And it may be a lot harder than expected. And if they pull that CO, your certificate of occupancy, you're not getting power or anything in that house till it's brought up to code. So you got to be very careful out there. And that was probably one of the hardest, because it wasn't a tough remodel. It's got brand new kitchen cabinets, brand new quartz countertop, brand new bathrooms. It was the stairs being off by like half an inch on 3 risers. And, now if you got a bulkhead by the stairs, because it has to be 6'8" clearance. So it's just all these little things that you are not told by investors. I mean, there's a lot of bad stories out there, but those are the ones you want to hear more than the successes. I can tell you, I've done 40 flips that were making profit. I've got, over 20 buy and holds. You don't want to hear that. You want to hear the bad stuff, like what I learned from those, what went wrong, how I fixed it. So you can avoid that. Those are the questions you want to ask. Like, it's great, you got all this and you've done all that, but what were the things you would go back and tell yourself? And that's what, I ask my mentors now, like, hey, what would you do if this happens? Or, what went wrong? I think Nate got it was like a hotel like a few months ago, and it was a flood that took out a whole like 7 or 8 apartments. So when I see him this week, I'm going to ask him, how'd that happen? What did you do? I don't have hotels, but if I do one day, I'll remember the story of what he tells me and what he did to fix it. So that's what you want to learn.
Absolutely. Have you ever used cash flow to do the work on a property that you bought? Have you ever relied on the cash flow? Like I've heard some investors do that, right? They use the cash flow that's coming in. So, right, the $200, if you're bringing in $3,000, the $200 that you're profiting times however many units. You ever use cash flow? Why or why not? Is that a bad idea to do your maintenance or do your upkeep or renovations on a property?
So I don't use that for anything until the end of the year. Like, I like to leave it all alone. If I got a property that's renting out, I don't touch that money at all. But like you said, maintenance, things like that, that's going to happen. So when I first started, the HVAC looked like it was fine for 2-3 years. I wouldn't touch it. Big mistake there. So I'm making money every month off this property, and then that HVAC goes down for the next year and a half. That thing is making no profit now. So I could have just fixed it up front for a better unit, or fix the pieces inside, whatever you want to do. But now, I just bought a property like 2 months ago. HVAC looked okay. My guy came out and said, you got a good 3 years on it. Nope, take that shit out. And we just put a brand new one in there, brand new electric, everything, because I'd rather put the money up there now, get it fixed now, and not have to worry about it for at least 8 to 10 years. Yeah. So I'll make, $100 minimum, for example, a month. But that's better than getting one service call for an HVAC being down, costing you thousands. That whole first year is gone, maybe even more. So just spend it up front now, and just have that peace of mind that nothing's going to go wrong, or you're better off. So that's something I learned, and it sucks because your cash flow is lower, but it's going to be worth more, because when the appraiser comes out, hey, this is a brand new system. Bring up the value of it. Your tenant's going to be happy because they've got a newer system. It's going to last longer, like you said earlier with your water heater. They've got little things in there where before it even overheats, it'll shut off, or it'll pull emergency heat, whatever the case may be. And it's going to be better in the long run. So just make sure you're doing things right. It's someone's home.
been an epic conversation. Sir, you have shared so many nuggets this episode, and I truly appreciate you. The Gentleman Style Podcast family appreciates you for sharing today. Another round of applause for Mr. Joey, y'all. Well, y'all, we are out of time. We gotta let this incredible man go. He has many more real estate investment deals to do and many more lives to change. But, Mr. Joey, what's one thing? You've shared so many nuggets today. What's the most rewarding part of your job, and what advice would you give that young entrepreneur, that young contractor? Any final nuggets to that young boy, that young girl out in the audience watching you right now? What would you say to them who are interested in getting into real estate, thinking about getting into real estate, but they just are too afraid to move? What would you say to them right now?
So for everything I've said on this podcast, everything I've done in my career, it doesn't mean anything to you. But if you believe in yourself and you want to really do it, you're going to find a way to do it. YouTube, Amazon, there's so many things out there, videos, books. You don't have to believe in me. It doesn't bother me. But believe in yourself. If you really want that life, you're going to find a way to get it. You're going to bust your ass. We've all got the same 24 hours in a day. You're going to make it happen one way or another. So if you don't believe in me, believe in yourself. I did that. I took the risk. It was scary. I made the jump. I wouldn't do anything.
Absolutely. How can people connect with you? How can people find you and learn more?
So they can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, schedule a call with me on my Instagram profile. Just even if you don't want to invest now or in the future, just reach out, have a conversation, and see what's going on.
Love it, love it, love it. And for our audio listeners, that's Joey, JOAOMAC_STF at Instagram. Check him out. He's dope, incredible, and he's changing the game, and he's sharing nuggets just like he shared today. So, like we end every show, we got to let this incredible man go. He has many more things to do. But, like we end every show, take care of your friends, take care of your family, and always, always take care of business. This is Marcus, your favorite gentleman, and the incredible Joey, killing the game, changing the real estate game. Love you guys. Bye.